welcome to my channel. Today's video, I'm going to make 3 different cards using the same 2 stamp sets. I'm using the My Best Friend stamp set from Simon Says Stamps and Painted Greetings from Altenew. This Painted Greetings has a lot of really nice sentiments on it, and the My Best Friend is a 3-step floral and leaf stamp set which allows you to make very realistic looking flowers. When you make multiple cards from the same stamp set, then they will automatically go together, and that will help you if you decided you wanted to make a collection of cards to give to someone as a gift. These cards are very simple, and they use pretty much the same materials but just different inks because they each are a different color family. So let me move this out the way and show you the other materials that I will be using to create these cards. These are the 3 cards I'm going to be making today. The first card is a window card, and it has a poke through that you can see the flowers from the outside of the card. The second card, I have cut out the flowers to make an embellishment which is raised up on foam tape. And I also have raised up a sentiment on foam tape. And the third card, I use the leaves to create a unique background pattern paper for the card. So let me go through the materials that this card needs. For this card, I need a card base, cut 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. Here's my little shadow friend. It's kind of dark in here, so the shadow is more prominent. I have a pattern paper cut 5 1/4 by 4, and a white panel which is also 5 1/4 by 4. I have a white panel which is about 3.5 by about 8.5, but you need, I think, about at least 7. And I'm also going to be using the stitch circle frames. This is by Fawn. The next card, let me set this aside so you know which is which. The next card, also card base, 8.5 by 5.5, and I have one white panel cut 5 1/4 by 4, and another white panel. This is this is just 1/4 of a full sheet of paper, so this is 5.5 by 4 1/4. Pattern paper, which is 5 1/4 by 4. No, it's 5 by 3 3/4. Sorry. All of these materials will be listed down below in the comment section, so you don't have to try and follow through all this stuff and write it down. So don't mind me getting confused because it's a lot. And I have a black mat cut 5 1/4 by 4. And this card uses the stitch frames die cuts. Okay, now that's that. And the third and final card, again, card base 5.5 by 4, scored at 4 1/4. And I have a white panel which is 2 3/4. Let me double check that. 2.5 by 4 1/4, and a black panel which is 2 3/4 by 4.5. A white panel which is 5 by 3 3/4, and 2 white panels which are 5 1/4 by 4. And I'm going to be using this stamp set because I just need to get these little dots here. And this is a My Favorite Things stamp set, color drops with die. This stamp set also has I don't know if you can see it, matching dies, which will allow you to cut out these shapes. Okay, now I'm going to now show you a lot of inks. So the inks I'm going to be using for all of this is the green inks, which is Cottage Ivy, Bamboo Leaves, and New Sprout. This is for all of the cards. And for the first card, this one, I'm using Morocco, Cantaloupe, and Tangelo. It looks like a lot, but it's not that bad. this card, I'm using Danube blue, Summer Sky, and Bahama blue. And finally on this card, I'm using Tuxedo Black, Lulu Lavender, Sweet Plum, and Lilac Posies. Okay? And again, this is the stamp set, My Best Friend, and Painted Greetings. I need to get some bows, so I'm going to use one bow, and some rhinestones, and some ribbon. I'll also need foam tape and a glue dot. So it looks like a lot, but that's only because there's 3 cards and it's so many inks because each one needs 3. But if you just decided to do just 1 card, then of course you wouldn't have all of this stuff in front of you like I do here. So let me clear this out and organize a little bit. Oh, I almost forgot. The Versafine Onyx Black, and I will also need a 2.5-inch circle punch. That is for this card. So let me clear some of this stuff away and then we can get started. Alright, let's get into it. The first thing I want to do is make the front panel. So I'm bringing in my stamp mat, and I have the Celebrate already put onto a block, and I'm going to stamp it generally in that area. Of course, now I have made myself a little bit of a mess, so let's use my new stamp rag and clean that off. Alright. That's good. Okay. Now I want to take my, let's move this out the way, my card base and take this, give it a chance to dry, and I'm going to put it right in place where it needs to be before I do anything. And I'm going to leave my card open because it'll be easier for me to work with that way. So let's move this aside. Take my tape gun. Okay. All right. Now that I have it in place, I'm going to take my circle punch and punch out at the bottom where I want the window to be. So you have to be sure that you leave enough space to allow for the cutout, the die cut, so that you're not too close to the edge, and also come up enough. So I think about here is good. And this is able to punch through both the cardstock and the paper with no problems. But if you were to use thicker paper or thicker cardstock, you may have to give that a little bit of extra effort. And this can be used in something else. I think see, I can just take it apart and use it in something else. Now I'm going to take the larger piece of paper and the second to the end largest window, and I'm going to take this to my Big Shot and run 2 of them out. I'll be right back. Okay, now I'm back. You'll also get a circle here, which you can use in something else. Okay, set that aside. Now I'm going to take my Tombow, and at this point I want to close my card. Fold it and then open it back up again. Now, making sure you have the right side up, just take and put a little bit of Tombow along the edge of the circle die. Not too much, because it will ooze out and make a huge mess on the front of your card. So just sit this in place. press it. Whoops. Don't do what I did. Hold it, then do it. Flip it over, and same thing on the inside of the card. You just want to make sure that you line up the edges of the circle. Okay. Just needs a moment to dry. Now, bring in the inside panel. And at this point, we're going to line up the flower so that it shows through correctly through the window. So let me get this ready. Okay, take the most solid stamp, and I'm going to use my Misty tool. I'm going to use my Misty tool for this because it's easier for me. But you don't need to use a stamp positioner if you didn't want to. It's just easier when working with these multi-layer stamps. Okay. So I'm going to put my white sheet about where it needs to be, generally. And I'm going to temporarily close the window so I could see where I want it to be. And I know I want it to be like about here. So this much of the flower showing through. That's about right. This is just a rough guess, estimate. Close the door, transfer that stamp to the door. Make sure everything else stays behind. Now take the card out, we're finished with that. We just want to make sure that we had enough showing through the window. Now hold it down and look at it. That looks about right. Now I'm going to take the Memento inks, and you need the lightest. It's easier if you get them lined up the way you need to stamp them so that you don't have to think about it as you go through. So you start with the lightest, then the middle, then the dark. So the most solid image will be the lighter. And these are the same steps that you will take for all of these flowers that I'm going to be doing in the 3 cards, but I'm only going to take time and explain it to you on the first time. So down it goes with this most solid. Clean this off. And now take the second stamp in the set and move it around. You can just look right through the stamp and you can see how to line it up. So it's not too difficult. Oops. Transfer that. Now take the Tangelo, the medium, and ink this up. And you should see the flower coming to life at this point, so you can get an idea of what that flower looks like. Okay. And now the detail section. And this is a little bit harder for me to line up, so I'm going to lean my head in. Forgive me if it gets in the way. Sure I got it. Nope. There, okay. This stamp set is not as forgiving as some of the other color layering stamps, so you need to really spend a little bit of extra time to make sure you have it lined up. I found the leaf to be the most difficult to line up in this set. Now this one is the Morocco, the deepest of the oranges. I got it. Okay, now I want to put the leaves on, but I want to have them appear to be behind the flowers. So I took the time to cut a mask of the flowers. It's inky because I've used it a couple times. So I'm going to protect the flower with this mask made out of a Post-it. That's all this is a Post-it. And now I will take the leaf, the solid, most solid of the leaves, and put it where I want it to be, which is about here. Okay. Hold that in place. Now, these are the ink colors for the leaf. And as with the flower, you go from the lightest to the darkest. I'm going to do a total of 3 leaves on here, so I'll have to clean this and move it. And it's the same step with the leaf as it was with the flower, so I'll just go fast through this part. Okay, there's the inside. So all the flowers are done the same way. It's really simple. As I said, the hardest part was getting that leaf lined up. So actually, before I take this away, I'm going to do the sentiment with the Misty, because that way, if I don't get a solid imprint, I can just stamp it again. Okay, happy birthday. Just line it up. Make sure it's straight. And this gets the Versafine. This moved a little bit. And it did get a little funny. Okay, and I'll just set that aside to dry for a bit. Now the rest is just put this card together, so this part will just go quick. It's up a little higher than I wanted. The first one it's a little bit lower, but it's all right. Now I want to sparkle up the flowers a little bit. So I'll bring in my Spectrum Noir sparkle pen. Just go right over it. You have to forgive the noise. The cat has decided that he wants to climb into a cardboard box, so that will be that noise that you hear off camera. Silly kitty. Now let's bring in my my tweezers and put in a little black rhinestones in the center. I think I want the smallest ones. Okay, oh, I also want to sparkle up the leaves, just the center part. And this doesn't show up very well on camera, but it's really sparkly in real life. It's really, really sparkly. Okay. Now I want to put 3 on the outside, and I'm going to use the same color that is in the flowers. So let's make these orange ones. So I'm going to put 3, so it's best to put down the first one in the center and then put the other ones on the left to the right. That helps you line it up and it keeps you straight, so you don't have the row of rhinestones going catty-wampered. Okay, that's the first card all finished. For the second card, I'm going to stamp the outside flower, and I'm also going to stamp the inside flower at the same time. So the first thing to do is to take the larger of the 2 pieces of paper, and this is going to be landscape, so I'm going to turn the paper landscape to give myself a visual clue so that I won't make a mistake here. So for the inside, it is going to be using the most detailed section of the stamp, which is the second part, but I'm going to be using the lighter of the 3 inks for the inside of the card. So it'll be the detail section in the lighter ink, whereas the outside, the solid section, is the lighter ink. This will make sense as you watch me go through it. All right, these are the finished cards. They went together really quickly and it was not too difficult. I forgot to get the black piece for this, so I had to quickly run and cut that. But other than that, everything went pretty swimmingly, I think. I would have lowered this down a little bit the next time, but I like how it turned out. This is going to be the birthday cards for 3 of my cousins. I'm really behind for my birthday cards, so this is 3 of the cards that I need to send out. So I'd like to thank everyone for watching my channel, and please subscribe, give this video a like if you really like it. Please pass the word to other people so that I can get my subscriber numbers up. I'd like to thank my brother David for the wonderful music he's providing for my videos. I hope you're enjoying it as much as I am. Thanks for watching, everyone, and everyone have a very happy day and take care.